welcome to you, Paralympic Winter Games fans. That is the majestic stadium where we are. We are at the Cortina Curling Olympic Stadium and we are at semi-final stage in the wheelchair curling event. We started with 10 teams. We are down to 4. The fans still piling into the stadium. They have brought a wonderful atmosphere the past 10 days. And we have a treat for you today. We are watching a repeat of last time's gold medal game here in the semi-final. We will be watching last time's gold medalist China playing last time's silver medalist Sweden. And that's how they got here. So a stronger path for China. Sweden, a few ups and downs. That's all behind them now. This is a winner-takes-all game. The winner of this game will go to play for the gold medal. And the loser in this semi-final, they will play for bronze. This will be introduced onto the ice. We've had 12 round-robin sessions. We have 4 teams left standing. Big win for China against Sweden in the round robin. Sweden will need to really put that behind them. Just take this as a whole new chance, a whole new game. Here's the China fans. And here's the team from China. So from left to right, skip and fourth is Wang Haito. Third, Zhang Mingliang. Second thrower, Chen Jianjin. Lead thrower, Li Na. That was their progress here. Some very strong stuff out there. And facing them today, it is the team from Sweden. From left to right, you had the skip and fourth thrower, Viljo Petersendal. Third, Marcus Holm. Second, Ronnie Persson. Lead thrower Christina Kiki Lander.
People's Republic of China.
Here's the 2 teams. China wearing red, throwing red stones. Sweden wearing yellow, throwing yellow stones.
Zhang Mingliang, Wang Haitao. Sweden.
Those are the 4 teams left standing. 2 of those will play for the gold medal. 2 of them will play for the bronze.
Viljo Petersendal. Games will begin shortly. Wheels may be pulled.
Le partite inizieranno a breve. Consentito.
There's Li Pingchuan. He is the Chinese coach. Fans ready for a big encounter here. And there is curling legend Peter Narrow. He's the coach for Team Sweden. He's a highly successful curler himself with the legendary Paralympic team. The ice conditions. The ice team have been working through the nights. The ice conditions perfect for curling out here. It's getting warmer outside, getting towards the end of winter, and that can certainly affect the ice conditions in the arena. The air currents in the arena, different to the curling club, so it's a big job to keep the ice in good condition.
2, 1, när du vill.
Ja, skipper på plats.
Vi drar in!
Ja!
Lite ute, bra!
Kiki Olander, who starts us off in the first end. We are in semi-final territory now. China versus Sweden. It is China. The hammer with the last stone in this first end, the little hammer graphic there on our screen. That is by dint of China winning the head-to-head competition, the head-to-head game in the round-robin stage. And that means China, they get hammer for the first end here.
啊，你等我去。
下楼开啊！
Li Nana
没问题啊。
OK，
starting us off for China.
Go！
8秒。
So a conservative start there.
taget eller?
Ja, kör taget du.
Bra.
I think we will see
Kom igen.
a
Fokus.
close encounter out there, a repeat of 2022's gold medal game. And it was China who won that one as well, so Sweden,
Kom igen, distinkt.
they would love to get revenge today.
Bra.
That probably informing the conservative approach here. Neither team wants to
Ja, just det. Jag skulle dra.
have a whole bunch of stones, get in a muddle
Bra kick in.
early
Niklas,
on.
bra fart.
Yes.
So some defensive stuff coming. One stone in, one stone out.
Ja, jag går på nästa.
Bra fart.
Yes.
Well, that will definitely just settle the nerves for the team. It's very nice to just get 2 nice tidy stones with your first 2 throws in a big game, and that just settles the nerves a bit.
Hurray! Okay.
Both of these teams, though, highly experienced.
Niklas.
Certainly won't be first time nerves.
Ja.
Bra kick.
They have both been on this biggest stage of all multiple times. But a lot at stake. Both teams urgently want to be playing for that gold medal. First throw of the game for Ronnie Persson.
Lite där. Bra.
Deep breath. And both teams have
Bra Ronny.
experimented a little bit with their lineup this week. It's a long journey. You have 9 round-robin games.
Niklas 2. Bra.
Niklas 3. Bra
Team
Ronny!
plays everyone else.
Härligt.
So it's a long journey, and not surprising to see the teams utilising their alternate player, switching the lineup here and there.
Niklas 3.
So
Bra
Ronny,
Ronny!
he has played third in this competition as well, but today he is throwing second. Chen Zhanzin, he will be also looking forward to just playing a couple of nice stones, just settle the nerves, settle into this game. He has also played third in this competition. He started throwing third stone, now playing second today. No trouble for him. So not the most exciting of starts for us viewers, but understandably cautious from both teams.
Lite här.
This very early stage,
Bra.
neither team wants to get stuck with too many stones in play, make life difficult for themselves here in the first end.
Lite där. Ja. Här då, kommer fint. 8-8, bra Ronny.
8-8, bra Ronny! Snyggt!
Så här, seg i halsen.
We will play 8 ends here in the semi-final. If scores are tied after 8 ends, we will play an extra end. Of course, we have had some close finishes so far in this competition. Both teams have 38 minutes thinking time to play 8 ends. They also have one timeout, a 1 minute timeout that they can call whenever they want. That stops the thinking time clock, and the coach will come to the ice to offer advice.
Lite här eller? Där ja.
First throw of the semi-final for Marcus Holm. He started the competition as alternate, but he's played a few games now.
8-3, bra
Nice accurate stuff from him too.
8-1, 8-3.
Ta tiden där så här.
Det är rätt marginal, det var lite hårdare.
加油，2个。
Early miss for China.
Ska vi dela?
Now you are not going to get many misses from this Chinese team today.
Dragning.
That stone just over curling. We heard the team roaring the stone down the ice as soon as he released it, but that stone curling too much. And an early chance for Sweden to put pressure on here.
Fart och riktning.
Bra!
Jag är med.
Bra Mackan. Jag glider upp där, Kiki.
Ja,
Bra.
ses.
Oh, Sweden just wanting a second yellow in play here. That is lovely. Those two yellows well separated. And that means
Bra Mackan.
tougher for China to remove with one stone. The further away your stones are from each other, the more difficult a double takeout. Conversely, if your stones are close together, right next to each other, it's much easier to remove both with one throw. It is possible. You need to get exactly the right angle here. Oh, he's pretty good. Oh, he does connect with both yellows. Not quite removing them both, so still opportunity for Sweden to put pressure on here. You see the mixed doubles team in the background there, cheering on their four-person team. They had a wonderful competition.
Vi drar!
Good to see them supporting
Ja.
the rest of their team.
Kom igen, den har vi. 13, 13, 5, 13, 3. Kom igen, Viljo. Du äger.
13, 2.
First throw of the semi-final for
Lite ut.
Jag flyttar lite
Bra.
bara.
the resplendent figure of
Kom
Elio
igen.
Pettersson-Dahl.
Bra. Bra satt.
The Swedish team been together a long time now, and they have worked their way to the top. They started off in the B group, even in World Wheelchair Curling. They won a place up to the A division. They got all the way to the gold medal match last time, but this needs to hang on. It is going to hang on,
Den bajsar.
and that's important. It doesn't quite outcount that red on the other side, but important is that there are two yellows. From our angle at least. Certainly looks like yellow is lying closest. That's, we'd say that's first shot. Then it's red is lying second shot. And that yellow just thrown lying third shot. And the familiar figure of Wang Haito. He has really been a figurehead for Chinese wheelchair curling for many years now. Real talisman for the team.
Fan, kämpa.
So his teammates just holding on to his wheels. Make sure he doesn't slip when he's throwing. As he got the pair of them. Oh, lucky you, Sweden. A great effort from Wang Haito. Look how close this is. No mistake with the first one. Not quite connecting with the second. sigh of relief for Sweden. They will now have the opportunity to
Lite till.
clear the final Chinese stone.
Kändes lite där.
Last stone of the first end for Sweden. Just looking to remove that last Chinese counter. That is the easiest way to stop your opposition scoring, but you do need to remove it, and that stone not curling enough. Disappointment for Peter Sandal. He'll be frustrated with that one. Oh, look, that just slipping past that stone, not quite curling enough. And as if by magic, an early opportunity for China to get a second point in there and put a big 2 on the board in this first end. Haito, he will not get an easier opportunity than this. But this stone needs to keep going. Needs to keep going. Needs to keep going. That is a very surprising missed shot there from the Chinese skipper.
I think so.
So, a couple of missed opportunities for both teams in that first end. But that is very surprising. China will be kicking themselves with that one. At this level, you will not get an easier opportunity to score 2. But that coming up short. It is a score of 1 to China. And so they lead Sweden 1-0 after the first end. So an early miss from China, and they lead 1-0 over Sweden going into end 2. As Lee Nana leads us off again. Now, why will China be frustrated at missing 2 points? Well, this is curling tactics 101. And as you saw in the first end there, you have one last stone, and at this level it should be relatively easy to land your one last stone for a point. So we can think of scoring 1 point with your one last stone. We can kind of think of that as the default. And if you do that for 8 ends, you would score 1. Then opposition could score 1, then you can score 1. After 8 ends, you would end up with a score of 4 each. So if you want to win the game, you need to do more than scoring 1 point with your one last stone. And that's what we saw China trying to do. Just trying to take advantage of some loose shots, or one loose shot really from Sweden in that first end. And a score of 2 significantly more helpful than a score of 1 in curling. You can pretty much get 1 point whenever you have last stone. And that's why you see the teams working really hard to generate 2. And that is why China will be frustrated with themselves. But they had such an easy shot to make 2 points. Not taking advantage of it.
Distinct.
I sometimes think of it a bit like breaking serve in tennis.
Det är bra. Vård av egen
The
ställning.
default is you win your serve in
den har du.
tennis, you win your
Nej,
game.
ligger där
And if
lite.
everyone
Bra.
keeps doing that, you end up at 6 each, 6 games each, and you play a
Något
tie break.
där.
Ja, lite tight, lite hårdare tror jag.
So it's somewhat similar. You need to do more than simply making 1 point with your one last stone.
Farten är Niklas.
Is this going to connect? That's good work from Kiki Olander. Reliable start from her.
Farten är Niklas.
Bra, Nick.
This is her 4th Paralympic Winter Games. This whole team, they have played at 2 previous Paralympic Winter Games together. This is their 3rd outing. And Kiki, she played with a different team from Sweden in 2014. But this team really established themselves not only as the top team in Sweden, but one of the top teams in the world. They finished 10th in 2018 Paralympic Winter Games and silver medal last time. And wouldn't they love to get to that gold medal game again this time? China, they really are the top team in the world. They come in as Paralympic Winter Games champions from last time. They won the gold. They are the current world champions from last season.
Ligger bra.
On paper, China are the stronger team out there.
Lite tight.
Ja, jag märkte det. Fan. Ja, jag tappade den. Helvete.
Niklas 3.
Niklas 4.
Not quite catching enough. Ronnie Persson's throw there. And now that's a chance for China to build some pressure. Connecting, but not catching enough.
他往里磕了。
站位，
OK，
稍大一点点，没事儿。
行。
In fact, this Chinese team,
我这边感觉后期下的还不算太大。
行，明白明白。
加油啊！
哎，
this Chinese team, they have won the past 2 golds in 2022 and 2018. And wouldn't they love to go for a hat trick, get 3 golds, one after the other? That's a nice throw from Chen Jianxing. But those 2 reds quite close together now. Yeah.
Lite utsida,
Just a wee bit less than a metre apart. And the closer your stones are together, the easier it is to remove both of them in one throw. Get a double takeout.
我感觉我思想受点点，因为就是往那边磕了，我怕粘不上，我不敢太劲儿了，
Inne. Inne.
是吧？我这么3级的。
Bra.
You can see both teams actually just helping each other with the alignment to make sure you're lined up. You're aiming for the brush. And brush
9-2.
9-3.
plus that clockwise curl and close target. And that's better from Ronnie Persson.
把这甩了。
One of the reds out of play, the back red springing out of play.
Det är bra Rontan, det är bra.
Middle red just moving away from danger towards the side of the sheet.
这线路行。
我
No mistake from Zhang Mingliang. Objectives for the second end reversed.
Den har du.
From the first end, it is China
Lite där. Bra.
who simply want to limit scoring opportunities for Sweden, and they're doing that beautifully.
Lite här.
Kommer.
Bra. Ligger här lite. Niklas, 3. Det är linje bara, Mackan. Farten är bra.
Some miss there though from Marcus Holm now. A little bit of concern on Swedish fans' faces. There's no need to worry really. Sweden do have last stone in the second end. It's very early in the game. And there's not too many stones in play. So in a worst case, Sweden should have plenty of space. With their last shot. China just trying to put a second red in. Put the pressure on Sweden. We see sometimes the team's going for a blank end, so deliberately scoring 0. And that goes back to what we said about scoring 1 point being kind of the default. And sometimes you don't really want to give last stone advantage back only for 1 point. You'd rather really score 2 points before giving up last stone advantage. And for that reason, sometimes you see teams trying to score 0 on purpose. They want to blank the end. That is why we see China trying to get a second red into play. If there are 2 reds and no double takeout possible, then Sweden will have to score that 1 point that they don't really want to. This is good steady work from China. Chinese team always rolling their stone down the ice. We don't have sweepers to encourage here in wheelchair curling, but yeah, that's how everyone else watches their shot down the ice. Calling for sweeping, calling the stone, so why not?
Kom igen då.
Bra, Viljo.
Kan man vicka lite med dem?
8-5!
That is nice from Viljo Petersendal.
Bra sten, Viljo.
And sometimes you just have to accept your fate in a given end. If you've had a couple of misses like Sweden have, then there is a consequence for that. And the consequence likely to be that Sweden will have to be facing 2 red stones here. A big throw from the the Chinese skipper, excuse me. 2 red stones facing Sweden. If you needed to make a double takeout to win the game, you could do it. but not an easy double takeout here. The ankle is quite thin.
Du äger, William. Kom igen.
Ligger lite där. Bra!
So the safest idea here at this early stage, not the end of the world, if Sweden take 1 point. That's rolled the wrong way though.
One red.
And he's not quite nailing these final shots, Viljo Petersendal, and that will be a steal of 1 red point to China. They get a point even though they don't have last stone. That makes the overall score after 2 ends. It is China 2, Sweden 0.
Ja, men det är bra.
Ja, det är bra.
För chapp räckte inte, va? Eller?
Insida.
Nej. Säg det nästa gång. För vi...
That's where we are. That is the Cortina Curling Olympic Stadium. That whole 4th wall out front there, it used to be wide open, so you can have a good view of the mountains. It is China leading 2-0 as we go into the 3rd end. The last stone advantage then stays with Sweden. The little hammer still next to the Swedish flag. Last stone advantage, it doesn't take turns, it doesn't go backwards and forwards no matter what. The last stone advantage goes to the team who did not score points in the previous end.
Ja, 14-5-15.
The team who did score points,
Den har du, Kiki.
Jajamän.
they give up last stone. So that's why the little hammer has stayed with Sweden here. And it's still early days. Let's see if Sweden want to switch up the tactics, start playing a little bit more aggressively. We've seen a pretty conservative start from both teams, quite defensive stuff. Not many stones in play, just exchanging hits. That's a more aggressive start already from Sweden. Kiki Ulander making use of free guard zone, that area in front of rings there. That is the free guard zone, and that means any stone in that area is protected until 5 stones have been thrown. China not allowed to remove that stone out of play. You can move it around a bit, but it cannot go out of play until 5 stones have been played, and that's why that's a nice throw from Kiki Ulander. She throws the guard first because she knows that will be safe. And that is a decent throw from Li Nana. She has left space for Kiki Ulander to follow her in.
Kom igen, den har du. 13.
13. Ja.
Ute. Bra.
Hej då.
Bra satt, Kiki.
Okej.
Okay. 13-4.
This looks nice from Kiki Ulander.
Bra försök, Kiki. Bra.
That's a nice throw from her. Importantly, that stone has stopped ahead of T-line. That's the thin horizontal line. And that's much more dangerous. A stone behind T-line, that stone can only get further away from centre. But that yellow just thrown by Kiki Ulander, that's a stone that Sweden can use. They can punch that in behind cover. They can push it closer to the centre from there. And that's why we see China immediately wanting to remove that dangerous stone.
Whoa. Hurry up!
And that is a mistake from China. That is another reason why stones behind T-line are not as helpful as stones ahead of T-line, because that's what can happen. A stone behind T-line, it can get in the way when you're trying to remove stones. That's exactly what happened. And now, all of a sudden, we have a whole bunch of stones in play in this third end compared to the first two. And really time for Sweden to make a move here.
14,5, 15.
15.
They won't get many chances against this Chinese team. They need to take every chance, Sweden, if they want to get to that gold medal game again.
Kändes okej.
Kändes okej då nu, bra.
Det är bra.
Farten ser bra ut, eller?
Stanna. 14-1!
14-1!
Det är bra.
Bra, Ronny!
Härligt!
That's fine from Ronnie Persson. What he has done is block access to that red in those front rings. And that means China not easily able to use the red stone to punch back onto the yellow or punch back towards centre. This is an interesting idea. Building to be a more aggressive sort of end stones in play. The other option for China would be to wrap a stone round those guards. There is space for it. And instead wanting to remove these guards. Restore access to the stones in the house. Yeah, you can see there would have been space for China to wrap a stone round the back of all the guards out front. Sweden then, they need to stick to their task here. They have a yellow. Counting shot at the moment. And they want to make it as difficult as possible for China to do anything about it. And then use their last stone, hopefully, to score a second point.
Kändes lite längre ut.
Ja.
This needs to stop now. Just stop. Just stop. That's a great throw from Ronnie Persson. Lovely work from him. It is now Sweden line 2. It's now Zhang Mingliang's turn to clear some space. He removes one of the yellows, but importantly, still a yellow lying around. So squirting that red straight back onto the yellow. And I fancy we shall see the same kind of cat and mouse for another few stones. Sweden just carefully putting another yellow into play. China trying to remove it. What's important for Sweden is to try to not leave a double takeout for China. That would very much spoil their nice plan here in the third end. That's why stone placement is really critical.
14-8. Härlig Macka!
Härligt Macka! Snyggt steg!
That's fine for Marcus Holm. Yeah, this is what I thought China would do the last time. I thought they would use those stones out front and try and get a stone in behind.
他比咱那个稍近一点，他在9区啊。OK， 8、7、6、5都行。
加油两个。
加油！
来了，
线路是没问题。
好人，
高！
This is pretty nice. It's not quite going to get there, but that has found a very dangerous position.
Ska vi lägga den där eller?
That's the Chinese mixed doubles team cheering on their teammates. Yeah, so it's still yellow lying short, but those two reds in a very dangerous position now. You just need to touch those reds and they will be lying in short position.
Kom igen, den har du.
Ja, alternativet är ju att vi slår den.
Ja, kan vi göra också.
Har ju slaget för dubbeln där.
Eller ska vi slå?
9 eller gard.
Jag menar gard över den är ju risk att han hänger ner för ligga 3.
Ja, vi slår då.
Slå då. Niklas.
Gör det!
Vill han
Kom
kolla?
igen, den har du Mackan.
Those two reds though, right next to each other.
Fokus på den. Niklas, är det det som gäller? Bra.
Känns det bra där?
Ja, kanske lite mindre, jag vet inte.
Jag menar, nutsidan där är också ganska bra.
Ja.
Sticka den då.
Niklas!
Kom igen då. Jag med.
Ligger bra.
Big throw coming up for Marcus Holm. He can really boost his team here if he connects with these two reds. He's made it round the guard. Oh, just the one. But really neutralising the danger as well. That's a fine throw from Marcus Holm. Difficult now for China to use that red. There's a yellow right in front of it. Oh, he just needed that stone to curl a fraction less and he would have picked off the pair of them. But it's found a very good spot, that yellow. And yeah, forcing China to go around the back of everything. That's the view from the throwing end. Nothing you can do with that red in amongst all the cover there.
加油吧！
加油！
13、12、8、9，我觉得都行。加油吧！
Zhang Minliang then. Holding the brush for Wang Haito to aim for. And that's what we call reading the ice. You aim for the brush. You don't want the stone to land at the brush. You aim for the brush. add the curl. Brush plus curl equals target. That's coming up short though. That is not what they wanted at all. And guess what? They have just made a nice space behind cover for Sweden to attack.
Vill du ha här eller 6 eller lite mer?
Ja, ganska mycket. Ta där.
Ska jag ta på 7?
Tror du inte det?
Det tror jag.
Ja. Jag tyckte hans linje var
Bra!
att det var ganska mycket faktiskt.
Det kommer mycket på slutet.
Big opportunity for Sweden now in this third end.
Jag hade 13 och 13 9 på hand.
Just a little bit loose, finishing off the first and second end.
Ja, jag tror
Switching it
det.
up to the more aggressive tactics here in the
Jag äger
third.
den.
Ute.
Lots of stones in play now. And a mistake from China. They need to capitalise on every mistake from China today, Sweden, if they want to make it back to the gold medal game. The line looks nice here.
12 8.
He's certainly around that red. This just needs to keep going.
Det är ju jättetrögt ju. Det är
Not
svintrögt.
quite going to
Skulle väl komma 12.
land in behind everything, but
8 är ju inte nära.
short is better than long here.
Ja, men det är bra.
A stone that's too long either goes through the back and then nothing you can do with it, or a stone that was too long could also simply give China a target. That yellow then blocking the path and forcing China to the other side of the sheet.
Ja.
打甩吗哥？
打甩，
加油！
来了。
Vilket pratar vi om? Den röd eller pratar vi egen? Gud, det är
Wang Haito, he is facing one Swedish counter. And no easy access. Ooh. Just over curling a bit that stone. He was trying to use his own red stone. Trying to redirect that in towards the middle. Not quite catching it. And big opportunity now for Sweden to level this score to each.
Gå upp och kolla vinkeln.
And Viljo Petersendal coming up to have a look. There's a bunch of yellows lying around. I think they could be wondering, is there possibly a shot to get 3 points?
Eller vill du spela på...
I don't think it's worth it.
Spring och kolla imorgon.
I think there's a strong chance to get 2 points.
Jag bara funderar på var är den ofarlig?
An incredibly difficult chance to get 3. I would, at this early stage, I think I would try to
Hur mycket har vi på
make
den?
sure I get 2.
Alltså, det är inte mycket.
Nej,
Nej, det är inte mycket.
jag tror att det är ganska stor risk att jamma den där.
Men vill du hellre knacka eller trycka någonting då? Jag
Den här
tänker-
trycken är ju lite farlig med.
Ja, ja, det är den ju. Men eller så den där då?
Ska vi
If
dra
you've
en
been
sexa
listening into
på
the
den här?
competition, you'll know that I don't favour
Ja, gör det då.
lots of jibber jabber.
Den där är ganska ofarlig, Kiki.
Ja,
Den går vi på.
Den går vi på. Jag gillar den också.
Den gör vi.
Men vart vill du ha träff då?
Ja, det är ju utsida lite.
Okej, vilken fart?
Jag tror 8, va?
8!
I'm not sure I like this call. I think there's a pretty safe stone to try to get 2 points here.
Alltså, vad vi
That
än
would
gör
be
så
similar
kan
to
vi ju
what
rycka
Petersendal
i
played with his first throw.
Den
Just
är ju
wrap
för
it round the
tre
back.
egentligen.
He maybe feels like he can't get to the green circle, the 4 foot.
Kom igen, fokus Linda.
He maybe feels there isn't enough curl.
Varje dag hemma.
Vad tänker du fartmässigt?
So for the sake of good curling then,
Försöker vi få ner den på fart.
Fart och pass.
let's all wish Viljo Petersendal a good throw here.
Bra.
He wants to angle that yellow
Kom igen,
back
Emilio.
onto the red.
Lite inne. Bra.
Nice smooth throw from the Swedish skipper.
Sätter den bra.
All eyes on this stone.
Kom igen då.
He's not far off. He is not far off. Is that going to hang around? What a throw from the Swedish skipper. And oh boy, has that given the Swedish team a boost. He gets that angle perfectly. His own yellow hangs around. That is a massive score of 3 to Sweden. That is a huge boost for the Swedish team. Yeah, big smiles from them. Wonderful throw from the Swedish skipper. And after 3 ends, it is Sweden who have bounced into a 3-2 lead over China.
Lugnt och metodiskt.
Ja, snygg Sten.
Kom igen då.
So, wonderful throw from the Swedish skipper there, Viljo Petersen Dahl. And everyone needs to take a deep breath, calm the excitement
Här du vill.
as we go into the 4th end.
Kom igen. Fart.
12-8-13 tror jag.
Perfekt. Kom igen nu.
Bra!
Kändes bra.
Bra Kiki!
I wonder if this could be a path to the gold medal game for Sweden. The first 2 ends, very conservative, not many stones in play. And it was China that scored in those first 2 ends. And the 3rd end, it was Sweden switching it up, throwing up a couple of guards, getting stones in play. And it was Sweden that benefited from that strategy. And I wonder if that is the path to the gold medal game for them. They maybe just need to take the risk of playing aggressive stuff against China, a very strong hitting team, China. So they're quite happy to play the defensive stuff. Like this.
Ja, Tage.
Bra!
Samma gamla snack.
In this 4th end though,
Distinct.
it is China who have last stone advantage back. That big score of 3 on the board for Sweden means the last stone advantage goes back to China in this 4th end. And we're still fairly early on in the game. We're approaching the halfway. We play 8 ends, and after the 4th end there is a half-time break.
Se om den hämtar upp sig.
Tror den kommer.
Ja. Ja, Niklas 3.
That's good, consistent work from Kiki Ulander.
Bra Kiki. Bra.
Sorry.
Ja, men det är lugnt. Fick ut.
小了上去也行。
Ja, lite. Ja, jo.
A bit of target practice for Lee Nana. Always good to have that T-line weight. So a stone that just reaches that T-line. That's exactly what you want to have at your disposal. Statistically, being good at those kind of shots, that's the kind of shots that will win you games these days.
Lite här. Bra.
Many moons ago, in the 80s and 90s, the game was very defensive. It was really the big hitters.
Noe godt ute.
That was what brought you success. But these days, the ice conditions much advanced.
Kommer ganska bra. Bra Ronny, 8-9.
And it's, you can play more accurately in these good ice conditions. You can control the stones more. And these days, it's really the more aggressive tactics that win you games. You don't win games by hitting anymore. But it is China who have last stone in this fourth end. It's really up to them to switch it up, the tactics, if they want to do something aggressive. Not really up to Sweden to do their work for them. And China deciding they don't want to get stones in play here in the fourth end. It's being conservative again. Sweden right to just respond to what's going on. China with last stone, they're the ones that need to be bossing this end, doing the work. And Sweden right at this middle stage of the game to just be kind of following China's lead. Too risky for Sweden to switch tactics and start going aggressive. That's how you lose points, potentially. Just keeping it clear here. No Chinese stones equals no points.
Bra. Oj.
9. Vad sa du förresten?
Ja.
And for the sake of good curling, let's hope China's strategy is not to do this for the next 3 ends. And go all out in the 8th end. A miss there from Chen Zhanxing. It won't matter too much because China has last stone.
Den har du.
Chance though for Sweden to put pressure on.
13-5.
We saw the situation a couple of ends ago, the other way round. If you're Sweden just now in the 4th end, you are +1. And that suits you very well. If you can get China to give up last stone advantage for the price of only 1 point on the board, that suits you pretty nicely at the moment. That would level the scores at 3 each. And it would be Sweden taking last stone advantage into the 5th end. So what's the best way to try to force China to give up last stone advantage? That is to put 2 yellows into play. Make it difficult for China to remove both of them. Make it difficult for China to deliberately score 0, to blank this end. And that's exactly what Sweden are doing with that earlier miss. So no double takeout for China there, just the one.
Lite här. Bra. Kändes något tight.
Important throw for Marcus Holm here. He needs to connect with this Chinese shot.
8-3 har jag.
And that is professional stuff from the Swede. That yellow looks like it's just outside the rings. We can see a bit of space between the stone and the rings. So that does bring the possibility of a blank end, a 0 score, back into play.
Om du skulle veta om vilka av, skulle du vilja dra mitten ändå eller vill du ut där?
But important from Sweden's perspective, they are not letting Chinese stones build up here. This is very good defense from them. All of this power, remember, in wheelchair game, all of this power coming from upper body strength only. Foot players, you see them pushing out of the hack. They use leg drive for most of their power, but all of this power for the wheelchair players coming from upper body strength. These guys really strong with the takeout.
Kom igen.
Bra!
Additional tidying up from the Swedish skip. So this is a deliberate strategy for China. They are being conservative on purpose here. They realise that they're not going to score big points here. No chance of scoring 3 points or so in this end. But this is a deliberate strategy for them. Exchanging hit for hit here. Now, I don't speak Swedish, but it sounds like they're saying Niklas, and I wonder if they are invoking the blessing of the great Niklas Edin. For me, the best player that's ever played in the men's game. That's a fine example to follow. One more tidy throw needed from Vilo Petersendal. He would prefer to stick around, but doesn't matter too much. I expect to see China just throw this stone away. Even if that yellow had been lying around, I'm sure we would see just China hit it out anyway, so it doesn't really matter. That Petersendal rolled out with his shot. Critical was that he removed the red. No chance for red to score 2 points here. This is not what I expected. It looks like China were interested in scoring 1 point here with one last stone. And they will actually. And that is not a tactic I expected. They have given up last stone advantage, but only gaining 1 point there. And that's an unusual decision. Well, it's at the half-time break after 4 ends. Scores are level. It is China 3, Sweden 3.
间隙稍微长了点。
Dagar i veckan. Men vi kan ju snäppa på lite. Så har vi kommer behöva en buffert till förmodligen.
So the halftime break, time to check in with your team, the coaches, your alternate. Encourage each other, talk about what's working, talk about what we need to tighten up. There is the story of the first half then. Really nothing to choose between the two teams. Sweden making great use of their last zone advantage in the third end for a huge score of 3. And single points for China. It is anybody's game going into the second half. There's the team accuracy. What a game Milano is having. She has really not missed her shots. And that is good accuracy throughout the whole team. As we can see in a really close encounter here. There is the accuracy for Sweden. And really outplaying their counterparts. Just a little bit tidier from Gilio Petersen Dahl, making a difference in those third and fourth ends. That is our venue for the wheelchair curling event. The beautiful Cortina Curling Olympic Stadium up in the mountains. And that is how we stand. We have seen China score single points with defensive strategy, and we have seen Sweden score a big 3 with aggressive strategy. We are now in the second half of the game. And who is going to make a move first? It will be Lee Nana having a spectacular game out there. She will start us off in the 5th end. And continuing her delightful form out there. And that stone right towards the centre from China. Just asking the question of Sweden. It's now Sweden who have last stone in this 5th end. And it is Sweden who really need to make the decision how they want to play this end. Do they want to continue being fairly defensive, or it really worked for them when they had stones in play, mixed it up to be aggressive. There's our answer. It is a defensive response to that Chinese stone. China asking the question of Sweden, what are you going to do with this? You can remove it, like they have, or you could have maybe played a stone into free guard zone. Keep some stones in play. Insightful, though, is to think about our objectives from now. We're in the 2nd half of the game. We play 8 ends. How do we get from here to the gold medal game? Well, if you're Sweden, what you may be saying to yourself at the moment is understanding that we have 4 ends to go. What if we would blank this end, so we would deliberately score 0. The score would remain 3 each, going into the 6th end. But at that stage, then there are only 3 last stone advantages out there. And what we may be witnessing from Sweden here is them saying, if we keep this defensive here, if we can blank this end, then, assuming the team typically scores who has last stone advantage, then it would be Sweden scoring in the 6th, China scoring in the 7th, but critically, Sweden scoring in that 8th end. So what we may be seeing from Sweden here is that they want to try scoring now in the even ends, knowing that we're playing 8 ends, an even number. Sweden may prefer trying to blank this end, hold on to that last stone advantage, and try to score something in the 6th end instead.
Han måste dra tillbaka lite.
Bra! Bra!
Ronnie Persson
Kändes bra, Ronta.
started the competition at 3rd. Today he's playing 2nd and doing a really nice job there. Another super stone from him. China happy to play along here. China will surely be aware of what Sweden is trying to do here. but they're happy to play along for the time being. We may see China try to force the issue a bit more in the 6th and 7th ends, but at the moment, both teams happy to play along with this defensive approach. It was China who won the encounter in the round robin between these two teams. And it was a bit of a disaster for Sweden, that encounter. So I'm sure Sweden, they will have done their homework and they will have really learned what didn't work against China and tried to employ that. But that is a miss there from Ronnie Persson. Not quite finding enough of an angle on that red stone, and the red still hanging around. And we've seen this a couple of times already in this game. That one miss in this defensive strategy. And then the opposition team, they quickly put a second stone into the house. Just trying to force the issue. Trying to put pressure on Sweden. Well, that needs to stop if it's going to, though. Ooh, that is as close can be. I think that stone is touching the ring. And if any part of the stone is touching, that stone could score a point. Now, if the teams are not sure at the conclusion of the end, they can ask the umpire, and it is a specific measuring device. It's not the same one that we use when we can't decide who's closer. This is a specific measuring device that tells us, is a stone touching the rings? Yes, no.
Niklas 1.
Niklas 1, bra Mackan!
Härligt Mackan, snyggt!
Nice tidy stuff from Marcus Holm.
Niklas 1!
He started the competition as alternate player. They're doing a super job in the semi-final. Same strategy at the moment for Sweden. We will worry about that stone on the back line. Is it in or out? We will worry about that a little bit later. But important for the next couple of stones is to keep doing what they're doing. Just exchange hit for hit.
Niklas 0!
Jättekonstigt att den kom, jag tyckte den satt bra. Bra Mackan!
That yellow rolling the wrong way, rolling out of the rings there. And another opportunity then for China to put a second red. Put pressure on Sweden with that. Just over curling slightly, that yellow. Remember, all of these stones being delivered without sweepers. So if I throw a stone and it's curling a bit too much, then we will call the sweepers on and they will try to hold the line, and that not possible in wheelchair curling. The degree of difficulty higher in wheelchair event. This looks nice. This looks good from Wang Haito. Yeah, just putting some pressure on Sweden. We don't expect to score here, China. But is some target practice for him, putting some reds into play, asking the question of Sweden.
Chatten ställer ju frågan till dem nästa omgång.
Är det bra här?
Jag tänker inte dubbel, jag tänker mest att få kvar egenstenen för sig.
Men det där är is för chapp.
Ja.
Kom igen, den har du.
Ligger mycket där. Bra!
Hela vägen.
Deep breath for Viljo Petersen-Dahl.
Kommer.
They may have to switch up their tactical idea, depending on what happens here, but... Oh, he's got the pair of them.
Snyggt! Härligt!
We will never know if that red was in or out, but it is certainly out now.
Den har du.
Ligger mycket där. Bra!
Hela vägen. Nej, snygg sten. Mycket snygg.
8-8.
And look at this, perfect connection, just picks off the back one, leaves a yellow lying around. And Sweden's strategy back on track in this fifth end.
Om vi kan nollomgång, eller hur? Om vi kan så vi nollomgång, eller?
Ja, ja.
Final throw of the fifth end for Wang Haito. A cagey restart in this second half.
Spela 8! Nollomgång!
This favouring Sweden a little bit, the strategy.
Vad tror du om 8 i linan?
Ja, jag tror det. Jag menar, kommer vi upp chapp så gör vi, men målet är att bli
På 8 känns det omöjligt att chappa där, va?
Jag tror inte vi ska chappa.
Nej. Vi behöver bara flytta oss lite. Kom igen
Ligger
då.
mycket där nu. Bra!
Last throw of the fifth end.
Ja, blir chapp. Curla mycket gör den.
Satan vad den drog. 7-4.
There will be a score of 1 to Sweden. We will never know if they
Nej, men den drar rätt så...
prefer to score 0 to blank that end.
Det curlar lite på 7-4.
There will be a score of 1 to them.
Ja, sorry.
Det är bra.
Det gör inget.
Yeah, shake of the head. I think a blank was better for Sweden there, but it is a score of 1 point to them. They lead China going into the sixth end. 4 points to 3.
Jag kommer öka is på dem, så du vet det.
Men vi håller den dialogen. Vi drar in!
5 sekunder.
Skynda mig.
När du vill.
Bra.
We start the sixth end. It is Sweden who are 4-3 ahead of China.
Vad är uppgiften? Bra.
Kiki Ulander also having a fantastic game at lead there. Really setting up her team. Both lead throwers, Lee, Nana and Christina Ulander. Really setting up their teams beautifully.
14-1, 14-2.
Okej.
And that stone landing in the free guard zone. That is an aggressive approach from Sweden.
Oj, sorry Mackan.
They will now be thinking to the conclusion of this game. We're in the sixth end out of 8. It is China who have last stone advantage in the sixth end. Both teams will be planning what's our best path, our preferred tactics to get a win at the conclusion of the eighth end there. Team roaring that stone on. That's found a good spot.
13 秒。
Tage.
Det är din favorit där.
Det är det ju.
Känns det bra?
Fokus.
Ja, fast och
Det är bra.
fast bara.
Bra!
This is already much better from Sweden
Men ser det
compared
ut
to
att
the
få
round robin
linjer
encounter.
tidigt? Kan komma.
China really chasing Sweden off the ice in that one, and this is much better from Sweden here. They've really learned from that encounter.
Bra Kicke, räcker så. Härligt.
上马力量非常好，不点太大了。
Good work again from Kiki Ulander.
Tage 2.
Just removing that red, but there is still a yellow out front protected by free guard zone. China not allowed to remove it.
Ja, men det är ändå skönt att vi gick på den när den väl ligger
And
öppen.
we've seen
och
how
bara
confident,
inte får dra ut.
how good China are with the hitting game. And I've said this since the beginning, I think the way to get past this Chinese team, you need to kind of take an all or nothing approach and just decide at some point you need to play aggressive. That's another fine throw from Li Nana.
Niklas eller?
Ja.
Bra. Lite där är du.
Där.
Bra.
Ja. Niklas.
Fokus.
Bra. Lite ute bara.
Kalla upp där, kalla upp där.
Och lär, va?
Ja, den kommer nog fint.
Ja, då.
Eller?
Ja, det blir bra.
8-8.
That is good from Ronnie Persson.
Nu ska jag gå och dricka.
Simultaneously keeping it clean. Just removing Chinese stones, but also leaving that yellow out front. So Sweden can switch the tactics up if they need to.
med一个。
走一走，二人，再走，二人，go！
It's a nice throw from Chen Zhanxing.
20.
Ska vi gå en egen igen?
Ja. Spelar roll vilket håll. Ta in hand.
Niklas?
Yes.
This is a bit more of a confusing strategy for me.
Vi slår den.
Ja.
Sweden starting out fairly aggressively, but apparently changing their minds and now wanting to stick to the defensive stuff.
Så. Ja, det känns bättre.
This is extremely cautious. The other idea for Sweden would be to follow the Chinese stone down to the centre. There is space to land a Swedish counter in front of it.
Ja.
Kändes bra.
Sant bra.
Oh, he's picked it clean off. What a shot from Ronnie Persson.
Om de drar bakom igen.
14 minuter.
Adela nu! Bra!
A different sort of cagey feel to this sixth end. Still, neither team really willing to go all out aggressive here. And that just shows the respect between the two teams. Neither team in this sixth end willing to make the move yet. willing to make a kind of decisive drive. If you're in a cycling event, at some point you need to make a decisive move, and neither team willing to do that at the moment. And that's because of the respect they have for each other. They both realise that any mistake at this late stage now in the game could be decisive.
Bra. Kom igen Mackan, den har du. Hela vägen. Ska jag göra något?
Jag vrider handtaget bara.
Vad sa du?
Jag vrider handtaget.
Ja, okej. Skjut om jag ska göra något.
And this is what I wondered if Sweden might do previously. The Chinese counter just slipping behind T-line, and that means there's space to get a yellow in front of it.
Ser ut att vara där nere. Kan han curla lite?
12-0 har jag.
12!
Curlar och
Not like this though.
curlar.
Bra linje, Mackan!
He wasn't really aiming even for that red. It didn't need to be all the way close to that. That was just an opportunity to get a yellow close to centre. And a bit of a rush of blood to the head there for Marcus Holm.
Bra linje, Mackan!
Well, lucky you, Sweden. The stone coming in hot as well. So, as you were.
12-5 är ganska långt igenom.
And let's try again.
13-2.
13-2 blir bra. Det är din, Mackan.
Nej då, den där sitter. Jag tror på dig Mackan. Kom igen nu. Den är din. Du äger den där.
Lite. Där är...
Jag är med.
Marcus Holm needs to adjust his throw from his previous first throw.
Känns som...
This looks better.
Sitter i gard kändes det som när du släppte.
Has he overcorrected?
Alldeles för
Okej.
tunn.
Ja, det är du sen, William. Ja.
Linjen är tajt på den där.
Ja.
He has overcorrected, and that stone is going to come up a bit short. And this sixth end indeed starting to look like a bit of a turning point in this game.
Hans första satt ju bra på 5 och den var ju...
Ja. Får du någonting öppet?
Whatever happens in the sixth end, I always think of that as kind of turning the corner on the athletics track, and we're in the home straight after that, the 7th and 8th. Whatever happens in the sixth end will really dictate how we have to play the 7th and 8th. This is nice from Zhang Mingliang. That is a great shot from him. Now, don't panic if you're Sweden.
Har du någonting?
Nej, det är inte mycket.
Vill du bara dra ner mot, eller?
Ja,
Ja.
vi drar.
Vill du ha 5?
Ja.
Let's think of the bigger picture here.
Lite mer bara.
Lite mer. Där.
Å andra sidan moten tar vi bort andra sten, va?
Va? Ja.
Drar vi moten så tar vi bort andra.
Ja.
Ja, ta 5.
Kom igen. Den har du.
If you're Sweden, you're +1. And so a score of 1 red to China. That's not bad. That would mean the scores would be level and you would have last stone advantage again. So Sweden really need to think to the conclusion of the game here. They need to see the overall picture. They don't need to go all out to remove that Chinese counter. If they just block it in,
Ja, lite där. Lite ute tycker jag.
Jag tappar ju fan ur handtaget till dem.
This hasn't got enough fins on it though. That is going to come up short, so there will be a difficult throw facing Filio Petersen Dahl with his final throw in the 6th end.
Jag tänker att vi bara får fortsätta
There's a
dra.
couple of stones coming up short for Sweden. I think this is the right strategy for them to beat this big hitting Chinese team, is the more aggressive stones. Keep stones in play. But it is high risk, high reward. If you start missing, then opposition stones start building up.
就是右边逆势。
硬是行，这种也行。加油吧！这边这13，这边没咋走过，我觉得
12秒5，
12秒5，13，12秒782吧，13肯定前去。加油吧！
加油！
压了3、4位。
China aiming to get a 3rd stone into play here. They have done this beautifully. That is a great throw from Wang Haiko, putting a whole heap of pressure on Sweden here.
Eller 6 fot på alltid. Så att jag tror inte det här är något som helt nytt spår.
1 stone each to come. We need a little bit of magic here from the Swedish skipper.
Bra där! Bra satt! Oh, sorry.
Keep going, keep going. Even just sitting up against that red that shot, that works. Oh, he just wanted an extra half a metre on that stone and it would have been a beauty.
På den sidan.
He has neutralised one of the reds. So at the moment, China lying 2. Got a chance here to put a 3rd point in the mix. He's just played it. So same again, please, will be what he wants. Huge chance here for China. They could really put themselves quite close to the finish line in this semi-final. Score of 3 here would be difficult to overcome. We're running out of ends. He's got it. That is 1, 2, 3 reds. And that is a big score for China here. I think that was the right strategy for Sweden, but not quite accurate enough with their stone placement. And China really taking advantage of that and scoring a big score of 3. Big celebrations for the Chinese. And now it is asking the question of Sweden. After 6 ends, it is China 6, Sweden 4. We're at the business end of our semi-final. China finished second overall in the round robin. Sweden finishing third. It was China who won the encounter in the head-to-head during the round robin. And it is China winning 6 points to 4 as we begin in 7. We are in the home straight in terms of this game. We are in the 7th end out of 8. And from here, Sweden are running out of ends now to get 2 points back on the board. They must work hard to try to get 2 points on the board here in the 7th end. 3 if possible.
14-15.
Yeah, it's too late now for defensive stuff. They have to just ignore that red. And they need to utilize this free guard zone.
Jäklar vad den roterar.
Lite tajt. Det är bra där. Bra.
Snyggt det.
Kom igen grabbar.
Sjöar de kör då?
Yes.
Sjöar de kör.
Studsar vi tillbaka.
Jajamän.
Ja.
Yes, kom igen.
Vi jobbar med energi här.
That's exactly the start we needed from Sweden. They have no choice from now on but to be aggressive. China not allowed to remove a stone in the free guard zone until 5 stones have been played. Again, both lead throwers having a really super game out there. And that is nice work from Li Nana.
Kiki, vad tycker vi? Ska vi ta den eller ska vi dra?
If Sweden want to score any points, then at some stage they will need to do something about those reds.
Tage.
Ja.
Kom igen då.
Ligg inne. Bra. Något tajt satt. Lite där.
I'm not sure I liked that call. The idea was to both remove that red and then roll in behind the guard that Kiki Olander played with her first throw. But really important to get point number 2. What will become point number 2 at the conclusion of the end. Really important to get that into play. And I think that was potentially the more difficult way of doing it. The problem now is that you are going to be looking at 3 Chinese stones on the centre. That is good from them. China just managing to be a bit more consistent here towards the final stages of this game. And Sweden, they need to tighten up a little bit if they want to keep this game alive.
Bra. Bra.
Kom igen, curl upp där, curl upp där.
Same idea for Sweden. They want to both remove the red and roll behind cover.
Bra där.
Not quite rolling all the way behind that guard, but that's fine. Important is that Sweden have a yellow in those front rings now. So picking off one red, that yellow hanging around, and there are a couple of reds behind it to catch if anything goes wrong. The defensive strategy, the right approach here for China. They are +2. We only have 2 ends left to play. They will feel confident about closing this game out from here.
No, it's okay. Sorry, you want to see, I think.
This game, a replay of the gold medal match we had in Beijing in 2022. Pretty much with these same 8 players. And both teams would dearly love to get to the gold medal game again here in Milano Cortina. And that is a good throw from Ronnie Persson. Removing both Chinese stones, leaving himself lying around. I'm not sure it helps in the grand scheme of things, though. Sweden, they are running out of time to start getting points on the board here. We said at the beginning of this 7th end, Sweden, they really want to try to score 2 points here. And this is not really the way to do it. Scoring 1 point here is okay for Sweden. But that would favour China, really, in the 8th end. That would make the overall score 6-5. But it would be China that has the all-important last stone advantage in the 8th end. So I'm not sure this tactic is really helping Sweden overall. I think they may have been better at taking a big deep breath and throwing a direct draw. So direct stone that lands in the house with Ronnie Persson's 2nd stone. And just have courage. You will still be looking at Chinese counters, but you need to keep yellows in play here. The 7th end reverting to the kind of defensive stuff we've seen before. Relatively straightforward to get 1 point from this situation. Not straightforward at all to get 2. And Sweden do not really have enough ends to be leaving points out there.
Lite här.
Håll.
8-2!
No trouble for Marcus Holm, but yeah, China do not need to make points here. They do not need to use that guard. They don't need stones in play. And by far the safest idea for China. The only stone that can cause them trouble is that guard. You will see China just try to remove that guard. Now, it could be that Sweden's strategy was leading up to this point. This was fairly inevitable. when exchanging hit for hit. But at some stage, China very likely to remove this guard. A mistake at this point would be hitting this guard, say, on the nose and just replacing it with a different stone. But that would be rather naive of Sweden if that was their tactic in a Paralympic semi-final. So rather like that. So there is now still a guard in play, that red one. But that is a highly risky strategy. Crossing your fingers a bit that you will get some sort of half shot from China at this late stage, but that is what's happened. And if Sweden want to make 2 shots here, it will be what we call a skip's deuce. Both points will have to come from the stones of that man in your picture, Bileo Petersendal.
Kom igen.
Keep curling, says Kiki Ulander. Well, he couldn't have done much better with that. That is right in behind cover. And that indeed, that's such a good shot that China feeling like there's not really a way for us to remove that yellow. So they just have to chase it in. Just try and block up that scoring area, make it difficult for Sweden to get to. Big throw here for Wang Haito. This could be the difference between really being able to see the finish line a little bit from here. This needs to both curl a bit more and stop, though. Well, it has stopped. But Sweden can see all of that red. Weight was lovely here, but the red not curling as much as they wanted. Sweden can see that stone. And this throw coming up, this will be a bit of a barometer. Sweden can make this cleanly. They will level the score. Deep breath from Bileo Petersendal.
Kom igen då!
Kommer mycket.
Kom igen!
He's got it. And it did not look like happening anytime soon, a score of 2 for Sweden. But spectacular throw with this first shot from Bileo Petersendal. Really burying that first throw, and with his second throw, he is spot on, just popping that red out the back, leaving himself lying around. What an important score of 2 points to Sweden. It is all square again after the 7th end. It is China 6, Sweden 6.
Bra Bileo. Bra Ronny.
Absolut. I garda, Kiki!
Okej! Gard!
Kom igen nu!
Ja, nu
We are in for a grandstand finale. Scores are tied in our semi-final game. 6 each going into the 8th end.
15 är bra.
15 blir bra. Bra, grabbar.
Kom igen nu.
Nu drar vi.
När du vill.
Bra!
Kändes okej.
Bra satt!
Whichever team can string together 8 out of 8 shots is likely to find themselves in the gold medal game from here. That is a wonderful start from Kiki Ulander.
14-9.
She has such an important job in this 8th end. Critical that Sweden makes the best use of free guard zone out front there. We are in a one-end shootout. Scores are tied after 7. What a battle this has been. Objectives very clear. And exactly the same. Both teams need to score 1 point. How they get there is rather different. So let's think ahead to the conclusion of this 8th end. The Chinese mixed doubles team cheering their 4-person team all the way. Now, if you're China, you have all-important last stone in this 8th end.
Den skulle kunna vara runt den med.
And if you're that man in your picture, you are Wang Haito, what would you like to be looking at when you come to throw your last stone of this game? And it's not a trick question. What you want to be looking at is nothing at all. You would love, your ideal situation would be if there are no stones in play, you have 1 stone to come and you just find the paint, you just draw the shot anywhere in those rings. Gold medal game, please. So that's their ideal situation. What is the ideal situation? How should you try to get 1 point if you are Sweden? Well, your situation is different. You don't have last stone advantage. Your best chance of scoring 1 is to get to the centre first and block that centre path as effectively as you can. So we have seen Kiki Ulander set up the block. And now we will see Sweden aiming for the centre. That is a fine throw, though, from Li Nana. Yes, a straight dash to the centre from here. But she concludes her superb game, Li Nana. She has helped her team enormously. So both leads saying, OK, I've set up the end for you. Now it's up to you to make good use of it. Certainly it is China who should have the easier job. As we said, their ideal situation is no stones at all. So as few stones as possible in play. No blockage out front.
13-1.
That suits China.
Ja, det är bra, Ronny.
Ja, det är bra.
Det är bra. Andra sten. Mycket bra.
That is a great throw from Ronnie Persson. Why is that so good? It is still the red, lying closest to centre. Got that yellow nudging right up against it. And really impossible for China to remove that yellow from there. That's why it's a good shot. It's a yellow that Sweden can use again. And impossible for China to remove. So well done, Ronnie Persson. Well, and now China is playing with fire. The correct shot here is to remove the guards. Introducing more stones into play is taking a very high risk for China of making your own life rather difficult. Interestingly, both teams still have a 1-minute timeout should they wish. They can call their coach down for some advice. And both teams still have that open to them. I wonder if we'll see them use this here in the 8th and final end.
15秒4。
So that's all very well for now. China wanting to block access to that yellow. But oh boy, Ronnie Persson, what an opportunity you have here. It is a nail-biting finish in our semi-final, as befits such a wonderful tournament that we've had in the wheelchair curling event. And these players, they're all used to playing at this highest of levels. But such pressure on every stone from now. Ronnie Persson watching his last throw of this game. That is going to slip past though. That is too high. So China playing with fire, but Sweden not quite able to punish them. This is a far more interesting conclusion to things for us viewers. But of course, I do not like this tactic from China. They are risking making their own lives terribly difficult. They're roaring the stone along, but that is going to stop short. And well, lost a little bit of access, but you see Viljo Petersendal immediately pointing right to the centre. You feel like whoever gets to the centre first, they are in pole position to get to the gold medal game.
Den har du.
It is Marcus Holm with the opportunity to wrap a stone round the back of everything. Land it on that centre spot, land it right on top of the Paralympic logo. This isn't stopping short. Is it going to run too long? It needs to stop. It's not quite going to. The tension is building. Who is going to get to that centre circle first? Wang Haito needing so much ice, he almost needs to borrow the carpet. China throwing guard after guard. But of course, this is really living dangerously. If Sweden can ever get one wrapped around the back of everything, China will be facing a whole heap of their own guards.
Spela bort den! Vilken fart! Niklas!
Kom igen, den har du.
Bilo Petersen-Dahl deciding,
Det är ditt
in fact,
paradslag. Kom igen.
difficult now to get to the centre from the clockwise handle.
Du äger den där, Mackan. Den är din.
Sorry, anti-clockwise handle, and wanting to clear room on the clockwise handle now.
Kom igen. Jag är med.
Bra! Kändes rätt okej, tror jag. Får se om den håller. Nej. Ja, det är okej.
Doesn't quite connect with his target. He really wanted to punch that yellow
Än så länge.
to the right of the centre line. He wanted to punch that forward,
Det är en lång run back.
but he's
Ja, det är det.
given better access to that yellow. You can see the idea there. If you punch that yellow straight back, you will connect with your own yellow, and the idea would be to punch the red further behind T. And well, that does not guard that yellow. The direct draw may be blocked, but that yellow, you have one crack at this, sir.
7-5-8 där.
Ja, vart vill du ha här eller?
Ja, spelar jag 7-5 är det inte mer, tror jag inte. Eller?
Nej. Vad är det chappen du är ute efter?
Ja, nästan. Det är nästan chapp, ja.
Lite
Vill du ha mer eller mindre?
Det räcker nästan, va?
Ja, jag visar inte där.
Nej, jag tror chapp blir bra. Är det bra?
Bra.
Det där borde-
Vill du ha mer eller mindre?
Nej, jag tror det räcker där. Det
Bra.
kommer 7-5.
Yellow onto yellow.
Kom igen, den har du.
Pulled the red out. Reassuring arm from Ronnie Persson.
Inne. Bra.
An accurate shot
Kom igen
here.
då.
Ja, håller inte riktigt.
He's not sure.
Ja, det är öppet.
7-4.
Well, he makes it better.
Jag minns inte vad vi håller.
There is still a gap to reach that yellow with his final throw at the moment. That the tolerance for that shot, just creating space. But for Sweden, you really have had quite a few chances to control that centric.
Jag säger så här,
And
stänger de.
even though, goodness me, China are playing with fire with their tactics here, but Sweden not quite managing to make them pay for it.
Och så är det där, ja.
Kan spela på den där så.
You can feel the tension in the arena here. 3 stones to come. It is China with last stone in the 8th end. Scores are tied. This game couldn't be any closer. And they are roaring that stone down the ice. They just need to block that gap. They have. So Sweden have called their timeout. I'm not sure there are too many options here, but let's hear what Peter Narrow has to offer.
Nej, det är ju vilken du tycker känns bäst. Jag är lite sugen på den yttre.
Den till höger eller den?
Den yttre till höger.
Ja, jag också.
Vi spelar den.
Ja.
Skjuta in den.
Skjuta in den och så typ chapp ner på egen liksom. Alltså chappen.
Ja, chapp och gul, ja.
Ja, precis.
Nej, vi spelar den gula.
Ja.
Eller den röda.
Den röda är yttre och så ner på egen och så Miglet får andra fyrfoten på sista.
7-5-8.
Stilla.
7-5-8. Okej, då
Samma igen.
kom igen. Då kollar vi vart du vill ha is.
Gott om tid.
Ja, vi tar det lite
3 minuter kvar.
lugnt.
Ja.
Ja. kolla vart du vill ha träffen. 7, 5,
So
8.
plenty of time still on the game clock. Timeout is also still running.
Ja.
Där någonstans.
Där tror jag kanske.
Ja, kör det.
Vad kör du för fart?
7, 5,
7, 5, 8.
The idea then, running that red back onto your own yellow to pop the red out the back.
Här kommer med sten.
We've seen a beautiful angled raise from Viljo Pettersson-Dahl earlier on in the game. And he could do with another one right about now. That's the shot he's looking at. The red next to Kiki Olander's brush. Fire that back onto the yellow. The yellow is right in front of the red. The red will pop out the back. The yellow will stay for a shot. Deep breath, sir.
Lite inne. Bra!
Final throw of this game for Viljo Pettersson-Dahl.
Den curlar inte tillräckligt, tror jag inte.
Oh, so close. A very difficult shot being asked of the Swedish skipper. But it will be China. They don't need to throw their last stone. It will be China who make it to the gold medal match. We needed a bit more curl on that stone. Very difficult shot to attempt. But it will be China. Living awfully dangerously in that 8th end, but getting away with it. They are the ones who will progress to the gold medal game. We will see Sweden again in the bronze medal.
Thank you.
And a worthy semi-final here. It is finally 1 point to China. They defeat Sweden 7-6. Yeah, tough to take for Sweden. They really chase China all the way. Big emotions out there. Both of these seem so consistent. This is an interesting ritual. I am not sure what that means. Well, it seems to make sense to the players. But delight for China, heartbreak for Sweden. There is the team accuracy for the Chinese team. Those are some wonderful stats. The degree of difficulty harder in wheelchair game. No sweepers, only upper body strength. Their coaches delighted with them, and that's nice to see. Oh, heartbreak for Sweden. Yeah, they had their chances. That is tough to bear. They had their chances, but not quite managing to take them. We will see Sweden again in the bronze medal game. They can still win a medal in this championship. But China overjoyed. They will play for the gold medal, just like their mixed doubles team did. Yeah, heartbreak for Sweden. My goodness, they picked themselves up from the round-robin encounter. That was a very different game we saw out there, and they should take good courage from that. But so emotional out there, everything on the line. There is the overview of the game, and yeah, we can really see China just that little bit more consistent than Sweden, just that little bit more accurate in takeouts and in draws. And slightly tactically naive at times for me, but they got away with it. And it is China who triumph 7-6. They will play for the gold medal. The other semi-final still ongoing. They will play the winner of that. We will see Sweden again play for the bronze medal. Those two games coming up soon.
Vad säger du?
Det är bra.
Ja, det är bra.
A really close team, this Swedish unit. They've been together many, many years.
Stoppar du ner mina grejer, Sabina?
Vi gav dem en jävla maffio.
It was Ted Lasso said, there are worse things than being sad. There's being sad alone. So Sweden need to encourage each other, pick each other up, and China, they will be buoyant going into that gold medal game.
Den där suttit, då har de inte kommit åt den heller.
Nej, det har de inte. Oj.
Sweden will need their fans. They will be relying on their fans to boost them again for that bronze medal. But yeah, they just need to let it happen just now. Let all those emotions out. So a thrilling semi-final encounter between our finalists from last time, China and Sweden. Some cagey stuff in the beginning. Aggressive tactics coming out towards the end. Sweden had their chances, but not quite finishing it off. It was China making the key shots at the key times. They will progress to gold. We will see Sweden again in bronze. Congratulations to China.